So how good are Auscision 600 class locomotives with the new sound decoders? This week we're going to a bit of a deep dive into the sound files and the like. I must admit that I'm not any audio engineer, but I do have a good love of good quality sound and good quality products, so I'm pretty happy with my two so far, but you can be the judge. MRT scale prints, helping you to add realism to your model railway. We are producing craftsman quality prints in various scales, including HO, O and N scales. We are proudly Australian owned and operated. www.modelrailroadtechniques.com. Welcome back to my channel. A little bit of a change of direction here, back to my roots of modelling. I'm going to start deep diving a little more into some Australian locomotives. This is not going to be what I'm going to call an overall product review. Will from Will James's Railway has recorded one, and this is an outstanding review, so I'll put the link to that one below. I'll be looking at a little deeper than most into the sound of the locomotive. Also, we'll look at some of the functions of the locomotive, and as always, everyone loves to see some trains running, so we'll do that. So also a big shout out to Will James for the use of some really sweet footage. So less of the chitty chat, let's get over to the layout room and we'll do a quick unboxing and then get into what you're all here for. So very well packaged, as you can see. We've obviously got the exploded instruction guide there, which is always good for if you damage any parts to get back into contact with Auscision. And this next one here is everything to do with functions and sounds. We'll step through some of that as we go. So what's under the hood? So on Auscision's website, they say it's installed with an ESU version 5 21-pin decoder with the full throttle function. So there's a little bit of a new function to me, so I will go into that a little bit later in the video, what I found. Also, the 600 class is based on the Loco DL541 model. Auscision state on the website that the sound files are that of the real locomotive of this class. They do put a little disclaimer here, except for the startup, shutdown, idle and running, which is the Loco 12-251C, which are all stock ESU downloads. I'll try to replicate these other sounds the best I can. The dynamic brakes, the brake squeal, the coupler release and the coupler crash, and also handbrake applications, and with the horns and all that. We'll go through that in due course. So this is the audio rig I've been using, which is a portable Zoom H6 audio recorder with two Audio Technica ATR 2100X microphones. Bit of a disclaimer here, none of the locomotive's audio recordings have been altered in post-production anyway. The only manipulation I did do was to bring the volume level up slightly for a more enjoyable listening experience for the rest of the video's audio levels. The first sound sequence we're going to look at is turning the prime mover's sound function on, letting it go through its startup sequence, and then turning the sound off to hear the shutdown sequence. Make sure you comment below and let me know what you think of the sound. Sorry for the little bit of feedback or phasing, I just did not want to do any processing. So let's get into running the train for the first time. The next test I always like doing with a new locomotive is putting it in around a point or a switch, and then running it at slow speed under some sort of load. So just give you some sort of idea, it's probably got about 10 or 12 wagons on it, some M-Class from Arduino Express Productions, and some end-of-the-line kits that I built. So all weighted to the NMRA standards, so it's actually quite a heavy, long train. The reason I like doing this little test is just to show off how good the pickups are on this thing. Just another disclaimer, this does not have a stay alive attached to it. It's just purely running out of the box through the switch and then through that slip switch. So let's talk about the ESU full throttle features, which is a little bit new to me. I know it's been around for a few years now, but there's not a lot of videos online about how it works. So initially, this video, all I was going to show you is the pure sound recordings of the locomotive. But once I discovered these features, these are pretty cool, and I love using them since I bought these locomotives. So what is the full throttle feature? So in effect, ESU decoders allows you to control the RPMs of the engine regarding the sound side of things, independently of the speed of the locomotive. So previously, before that, if you dialed up your locomotive to go faster, that's when the sound would notch up. But now ESU have come up with this design where they've basically disconnected the two, so we can control those independently, which is great. So Auscision have used functions 11 and 12. So the first one is function 11, which I'll go through first. So this is what they call the coast feature. So once this is activated, it sort of simulates a train coming down grade. So the locomotive will just be at an idle speed regardless of the actual physical speed of the locomotive, and the locomotive sound will just burble away at an idling type speed. So the total opposite to that is function 12, which they're calling run 8. As I said, is total opposite to the coast. So this simulates a train that is heavy and under load and starting off from a standstill position. So the engine will start to, so the sound of the engine and the RPMs will start to notch up, but the locomotive sound will be quite slow. So what I'll do, I'll show you these really cool functions and comment below, see what you think. There's obviously other functions here like dynamic brakes and all that we can go into later. But let's just keep this nice and simple. So we'll get across to the layout room and I'll show you these really cool functions. So let's look at function number 3, which is quite an interesting little function. So it's very similar to the run 8. However, it's yet again another full throttle function, whereas there's a disconnect between the physical notching of the locomotive and the sound going up and down, pairing together. You can actually separate them out again. The beauty of this over the function 8 is you got full control of it via your hand controller. So when you push in the function 3 button, you can then control the notching of the sound of the locomotive going up and down by the use of the hand controller knob or slider or whatever you've got. So just be mindful that if you want to stop the locomotive, either you've got to turn the function off to then re-engage it, or use the other function F5, which is the locomotive brake, which we'll also go into. So the last full throttle function we're going to look at is F5, which is the locomotive brake. So you would have seen in the last videos, I think it works in nicely with the drive hold function, because what you can do, you can bring your locomotive down to a complete stop by just pushing F5. So back to layout room, I'll show you how this function works. As promised, let's get some trains running, footage supplied by Will James, so big shout out to him. Thank you very much, mate. Okay, so that's the end of the video. We've obviously covered a fair bit in a very short video this time around. So obviously we looked at sound recordings, we've looked at full throttle functions such as the run 8, the coast and the drive hold. Also the locomotive brake, which I think is a great little feature. So I posed the question at the beginning of the video, what do you think of the sound? So in my humble opinion, the Auscision 600 class locomotives have very nice sound. So well done to Auscision in that regard. So what I am looking at doing is doing a video with scale sound system speakers, or loudspeakers I should say, out of the States, and just comparing the two, because he makes custom built speakers. I do have a video of his in the description below. Tell me what stood out in the video today. So do you have a 600 class locomotive yourself? Tell me about your experiences, what features you like, or other modifications you've done. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming content. You know the drill, there's going to be some videos here, or down here, or somewhere on the screen here, and also a subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you real soon.